am sure many of you are familiar with this man with a small mustache. He was the architect of one of the most horrendous phases in human history. Well, this man was Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler rose to power as the dictator of Germany, and it is imperative on our part as students of history to know more about this person. So this lesson will be devoted to understanding the early life of Hitler and how he rose to power in Germany and continued to influence German politics over the years. Hitler was born in Austria in 1889 and he spent his youth in poverty. He saw a lot of struggle and hardships during his early years. Since his childhood, Hitler's mind was suffused with nationalistic sentiments. That is to say, he felt very strong nationalistic feelings for his country. And for this reason, he wanted to fight for his country in the First World War. But we have learned that he was born in Austria, and by his Austrian birth, he was to serve either in the Austro-Hungarian Empire or in the Habsburg Empire. But we later on got to know that Hitler did not want to serve in the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which is why he wanted to serve from Bavaria. Now, Bavaria was a small region which was incorporated into Germany in the year 1919. He sought permission to join the Bavarian army, and at the age of 25, Hitler enlisted in the Bavarian army to fight in World War I. Here is an image of Hitler during World War I. Now, Hitler was a very brave and courageous warrior. On account of this, he was awarded the Iron Cross twice in 1914 and 1918. Now, the Iron Cross was a great honor for the soldiers. It actually memorialized their bravery in the First World War. Through quite a few lessons, we have been discussing the impact of the Treaty of Versailles on the German economy. We learned that Germany was having to pay a very high war indemnity, which is why Germany was now being brought down to a state of absolute poverty. German economy was collapsing. German masses were suffering. They were on the streets in search of food and employment. Now, Germany lost the First World War, and the unfair terms of the Treaty of Versailles actually left many Germans like Hitler devastated and infuriated. They were of the opinion that it was actually the terms of the Treaty of Versailles that had brought Germany to its knees. That is to say, these Germans like Hitler were severely enraged with the terms of the Treaty of Versailles. To give an expression to his rage and resentment, Hitler joined the far-right German Workers' Party that was also known as the DAP in 1919. Now, right-wing policy is a particular kind of ideology that is founded on the spirit of overt nationalism and traditional hierarchies. Right-wing policy actually thrives on hierarchization of the society, be that in the terms of economic classes or even in various other ways. Now, right-wing policy also thrives on the spirit of exaggerated nationalism. And nationalistic as Hitler was, he joined this far-right German Workers' Party. But Hitler was very powerful as a leader, and over the years he went on to becoming the head of the German Workers' Party. And soon after, he transformed the German Workers' Party to the National Socialist German Workers' Party, which was also known as the Nazi Party. So from this, can you understand, he was trying to infuse a nationalistic identity to this German Workers' Party. He was trying to create a national identity for Germany itself, which is why he was now trying his best to infuse nationalistic sentiments in the minds of the members of this Nazi Party. Now, this Nazi Party was the architect of an atrocious period in human history, and Hitler himself was the leader of this Nazi Party. Now, we learned that Hitler had joined the German Workers' Party in 1919, and soon after the German Workers' Party became the Nazi Party. But at this point of time, the Nazi Party was not a national party, so to speak. It did not have a national identity. It was a local regional party in Bavaria, which is why Hitler now sought to establish himself throughout Germany. And to this end, Hitler planned to march to Germany in 1923. He tried to seize control of Germany through a coup that was known as the Munich Putsch. But unfortunately enough, the Munich Putsch was a failed coup. Hitler was imprisoned after the Munich Putsch. He had to spend many years in jail. Now, during his years of imprisonment, Hitler wrote his autobiography, which also became the manifesto of the Nazi Party, that was known as Mein Kampf. In Mein Kampf, Hitler actually expressed his vision of a better and a more powerful Germany. A powerful Germany that would be founded on a certain kind of racial ideology. Well, what this racial ideology was is a matter of discussion that we will be taking up later on. But for now, we should keep in our minds that during his years of imprisonment following the Munich Putsch, Hitler wrote his autobiography that was known as Mein Kampf. Before proceeding with this lesson, let me ask you a question. Which of these is Hitler's autobiography? Is it A Promised Land, A Movable Feast, Mein Kampf, or Angela's Ashes? Which of these do you think is the correct answer? Well, Hitler's autobiography is called Mein Kampf. He wrote this during his years of imprisonment. Now, we learned that the help that came in the form of the Dawes Plan in 1924 brought momentary stability to the German economy. Now, when stability was there in the German economy and polity to a certain extent, Hitler was not able to mobilize the masses. He was actually looking for a phase when there will be a turbulent phase in Germany. And he actually wanted to make use of that turbulent phase in order to mobilize the masses and spread his own ideology among the masses and gain power over them. Well, this opportunity opened up with the Wall Street crash. The Wall Street crash shoved Germany into a state of severe economic crisis. The Germans were once again on the streets begging for jobs and food. So the Germans were now in a state of desperation and hopelessness. And when the Germans were enmeshed in this state of desperation and hopelessness and hunger and poverty, Hitler saw that the stage was ripe for him to exploit the situation. That is to say, he now wanted to make use of this desperate situation in Germany to establish his power. Now, Hitler till 1929 was not very powerful in the German parliament. Hitler's Nazi party got only 0.2% votes in 1929. But you will be surprised to know that by 1932, the Nazi Party emerged as the largest and the most powerful political party in the German Reichstag. It got a sweeping 37% of the votes. So we can understand how swiftly Hitler rose to power, and he was able to use the situation in order to proclaim himself as the leader of the masses. And so the Nazi Party successfully turned the economic and political crisis in Germany to its own advantage, and it emerged as the largest party in the Reichstag in 1932. So from this point of time, the Nazi Party had already begun to make its presence felt among the German masses. Now the Nazi Party offered the hope of a better future, a new Germany to the German masses. But at this point of time, the Germans should have been more skeptical than ever, because they saw many governments, many policies offering them the same hope. But when one is pushed to the edge, that person will be inclined to look for new opportunities, look for something new in order to replace the existing social order. We have learned that the Weimar Republic was very inefficient politically speaking. It was not able to restore stability to German economy and polity. And Hitler's Nazi Party exploited this situation. Hitler's Nazi Party at this point of time made the Germans dream of a better Germany, dream of a new morning. And unemployed and hungry as the Germans were, they found Hitler and the Nazi Party offering a streak of hope to bring them out of the drastic financial crisis that they were all enmeshed in. Now this is a very normal human way of envisioning something new. Because when I see that I am being oppressed by a social order, by a form of government, if I find any alternative way of thinking, any alternative government, any alternative thought, I will be invariably drawn to it. And I will try to replace the existent social order with the new one. And this was what was happening when the Nazi Party was spreading its wings among the Germans following the First World War and the failure of the Weimar Republic. But I'm sure you are questioning how Hitler was able to win over so many German masses. Because these German masses were skeptical. They were no longer looking for the face values of words. Because they knew that several promises are given by many leaders, and more often than not, those promises are not kept. But why did they suddenly put their faith in Hitler and the Nazi Party? Well, if I tell you it was all because of Hitler's charisma, will you be surprised? Doesn't it sound a bit filmy that a leader's charisma actually won him many followers? Well, this was the case. Hitler was a very charismatic leader. He became very popular among the masses very instantly. And it was his charisma and his order, his personality that won him a huge army of followers. And all these people at this point of time were wanting to liberate themselves from the clutches of economic and political crisis in Germany. And so they saw Hitler as their liberator. Hitler was seen and revered as the harbinger of a new morning by the Germans at this point of time. Because we know that the German society was rife with political crisis and economic crisis for a very long time. And the Germans wanted to come out of this period of darkness. And it was Hitler and the Nazi Party that filled their minds with the hopes of a better morning. Now I'm sure many of you have friends and family members who have great powers of speech. By this I mean that when they start telling you something, you feel almost mesmerized. That is to say, even if they tell you something lie, something wrong, you are compelled to believe them. Well, such is the persuasive power of speech. And this persuasive power of speech is something that Hitler had mastered. He was very skillful as an orator. Along with his charisma, he could deliver very compelling and moving speeches with which he could arouse nationalistic sentiments in the minds of the Germans. So the Germans who were filled with anger and resentment were now finding an expression of their anger. They were being able to be moved by Hitler's speeches. And Hitler also heavily banked upon his oratory skills. So his charisma and his oration won him a huge number of followers. And in this way, the Nazi Party also gained immense popularity among the German masses. The impact of something visual is always more powerful and intense. Let me give you an example in this regard. Suppose I tell you a story and then I show you the clips of another story. Chances are that you will better understand the second story which is being shown to you. And that is the impact of the visual. Visuals are always more powerful in order to convey a message, in order to convey a thought. And likewise, Hitler also heavily banked upon this power of public spectacle. Hitler relied upon public spectacles to instill unity in the masses and earn their support. So huge gatherings used to happen when the Nazi Party was slowly gaining power in Germany. And here we have certain examples of Hitler's spectacles of power. Now during any Nazi procession, gathering or meeting, huge banners were erected on which very long red flags used to flap. And in the middle of these long red flags was the swastika symbol. Well, the swastika symbol became the symbol of the Nazi Party itself, and this is the swastika symbol. Here you can see how elaborate a spectacle these Nazi meetings and gatherings were. Now, many of you might be familiar with this swastika symbol. This swastika symbol is a part of Hindu religion, and the Nazis believed that they were the descendants of the pure Aryan race. The Nazi ideology was also founded on the domination of the Aryan race. Well, the Nazi racial ideology is a matter of discussion that we will be taking up separately later on. But for now, we should remember that the swastika symbol was the symbol of the Nazi Party. Then we move to another of Hitler's spectacle of power. Now during Nazi gatherings and processions, Hitler used to give very moving and compelling speeches. And these speeches had the power of actually bringing out the hidden resentment and anger in the minds of the Germans. So Hitler used to deliver very moving speeches. And all these Nazi gatherings were very elaborate in spectacle, as we just mentioned. Then there was the very famous Nazi salute. Now the Nazi Party was a right-wing party, as we mentioned in the beginning of this lesson. And right-wing ideology is founded on the spirit of overt nationalism and unity. Hitler sought to unite the German masses on a common grounds, that is the ground of nationalism. And Hitler wanted to earn their respect. He wanted to earn massive support from the Germans, and the Germans were to demonstrate their support, their honor for Hitler. How would they do? This was done through the Nazi salute. Now the Nazi salute was one in which people had to stretch their right arms in an upward direction. And this was meant to show their solidarity, support and reverence for Hitler and the Nazi Party. Hitler's say and celebration of the Nazi Party were the ultimate things for the Germans as Hitler wanted them to believe. Hitler wanted to proclaim himself as the Messiah, as the liberator of the Germans. He wanted utmost solidarity and support from the German masses. And to this end, he introduced slogans like Hail Hitler, which means Hail Hitler, Hail mein Führer, which means Hail my leader, and Sieg Heil, which means Hail victory. The masses were supposed to shout these slogans at the top of their voices during public gatherings in order to show their solidarity with the Nazi Party and their reverence for Hitler. With this, we come to an end of our discussion on how Hitler rose to power. The stage was already set for Hitler to assume power over Germany as the dictator. And this is what we will be discussing in our subsequent lesson. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it's rewarding too. So register for free now.